What up, everybody? It's your boy Aaron coming to you with another episode of First and Faithful, part one of the state of the franchise recap, review, whatever have you. But first things first, as always, the very beginning of the video where I beg, plead for you to click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the little bell icon. Please leave a comment, etc. The usual blah blah where I beg and try and get my viewer count up. But enough of that. On to the video. Like I said, this is part one of the review or recap of the state of the franchise that you can find at 49ers.com. Also on the 49ers YouTube channel. I'll leave some links in the description below. Definitely check out the videos. Really fun, kind of different. Usually they do it at the stadium with the fans, and they come out on the stage, and Peter Schrager is the host, and they kind of bring out Shanahan, the coaches, and the players, and et cetera, et cetera. This year, obviously with COVID, a little bit different. It's all through kind of a teleconference, kind of more of a one-on-one kind of thing. They had a couple really good ones. They had one Peter Schrager with President Al Guido and CEO owner Jed York. Really great video. They talked more about kind of the start of the season and the work that the 49ers organization has done in the community, kind of overall, but especially in light of the George Floyd protests and everything going on in the country right now, kind of what the team has done in the community to kind of help address some of the issues. Obviously, as NFL organization that have a lot of power in the community, a lot of money, obviously, a lot of sway. So it's great to see them use that power for good. Obviously we talk a lot about franchises, organizations, and high ticket prices, etc. So it's nice to see them really step up to the plate, and it's something I know they have done in the past. So just kind of really good to see them, kind of be able to talk about that. Like I said, also talk about, they feel very confident that the season will start on time, in accordance with, their doctors and NFL's doctors, etc. So that was kind of good to see. Then there was another video with Robert Saleh and special teams coach Hightower. Really good video. Something I really like, done by Keanu Martin over at 49ers.com. Who is honestly one of my favorite reporters. Really, really love the work she does. But really great video, and I love how Robert Saleh and Coach Saleh and Coach Hightower, they speak not just with football, but just life in general. And you have the feeling that you can really have this great conversation with both of them, and not just about football, but just life and how they approach life. And you hear in the video they talk a lot about, it's not just how you approach football, it's how you approach life, how you approach challenges, not just on the field, but in life in general. And it's just very interesting. You can see why their players, really gravitate towards them. You can see why, the other coaches gravitate towards them. You can see why Robert Saleh is definitely going to be, a head coach in the league sooner rather than later. And I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Coach Hightower move up the ranks and eventually get some higher coaching gigs as well. But really, really great to see those guys talking about the challenges of, COVID and teleconferencing, not having their players on the field, but, enjoying that challenge. And the one thing I love that both of them said was that you can't go into the season complacent in terms of, I know a lot of people, myself included, said the teams that carried over staff and carried over as many players as possible from last season have an advantage over the teams that didn't. And it's great to hear them say, while they kind of agree with that assessment, they says you can't be complacent on that and think, hey, we have the same guys, we have the same coach, this is no problem, let's just go. You do have to approach it that this is still, you have to build on what you did last season. You have to continue. That's the foundation. You have to continue to build on that. So it was actually kind of I love that it's still the, all gas, no brake. You have to keep building on that. You can't be complacent, So I did really enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy that too. Definitely give that a watch. Joe Staley was in a video. Great to see Joe. It is amazing. I don't know if you guys have seen any, pictures of him. I'll post one here. it's crazy when you see these large, linemen, defensive and offensive, and they stop playing and they lose all the weight, and you forget, like, yeah, most human beings aren't supposed to be, 330 pounds. That's not normal. And you see, like, as soon as they stop playing, you saw with Joe Thomas of the Browns, they stop having to carry that extra weight. They can just kind of work out, and they get really thin really quick. It is astounding how svelte Joe looks now. But it was great to see Joe again. Obviously one regret, I'm sure, the organization, of his teammates, his fans, is that he couldn't end on that ring, and you feel like, knowing what we know now, he was gonna retire one way or the other, and it just would have been great to have him go out with the ring, retire as all time great, and go out like that. So just sad to end that way, but great to see Joe again. Just such a character. Really epitomizes, I think, what as fans we love. Someone just busted their ass day in, day out, never complained, and he played on some really bad teams. Never complained, always gave his all. Just that's just all, I think, as a fan, teammate, all you could ask for. So great to see Joe again, out there. And then we had John Lynch, talking about, again, kind of some of the community stuff, but kind of talking about very interesting kind of the lack of minority hires in ownership, in coaching. And I like that he did point out that Coach Shanahan has a pretty damn diverse staff. Robert Saleh, Coach Hightower, Katie Sowers. It's a pretty, probably, I would venture to guess, if not the most diverse staff, one of the most diverse staffs. And that's, I do like that, he pointed that out. But also point out that there is work to do, in regards to that. The work is never done. The fact that the league is predominantly African American, yet so few coaches are African American, so few GMs, so few owners, is I think a blight on the league. At least in the coaching, you understand the owners obviously, like, usually, a team's been owned by a family, they continue to own it forever. So unless you happen to, it's very hard to get into that. But at least from the coach side, it is kind of a blight to see that there's not more minority coaches, or at least the opportunities don't seem to be there as much. So he definitely highlighted that, some of the challenge again with COVID and everything. So that was, again, very, very awesome to see. And then we had the man himself, Coach Shanahan, sporting an incredibly thick beard. You can see it right here, just full on COVID beard. I mean, wow, pretty impressive. I assume he will shave it when we get to the season, but I mean, props to Coach Shanahan for putting in the work on that beard. And he focused a lot in what he was talking about just getting back. You can tell he is chomping at the bit to get back. He knows. He said, they're only 2 or 3 plays away from hoisting that Lombardi Trophy and getting number 6. And I think it has eaten at him. I think much more than the 28-3 Falcons loss to the Patriots. Because he wasn't the head coach, he wasn't in charge of it. I think this, being the head coach, he is in charge of the whole thing. And I think, just eats at him every, and he knows, like, 2 or 3 plays, would have made all the difference. So it's very interesting, and great to see that he is very just intense. Like, he wants to get back, and you can tell this is eating at him, no matter what he says. Maybe, and you can tell this really eats, it's really eating at him. And he just wants to get back there. And he said, I just want to get back to, fourth quarter, 7 minutes to go, up 10, make those, change those 2 or 3 plays and bring home that title. So hashtag revenge tour. I think he just wants to get, out there, and especially having, Jimmy talked about having Jimmy, back this season after last season, obviously coming off the ACL, and what he was able to do with Jimmy, and now moving past that, what they should be able to do. And I think he's excited. I know they flirted with Tom Brady, but at the end of the day, it's full steam ahead with Jimmy. And I expect some I expect some magical things from them this season. I think just being that season removed from everything. Um, you know, all Jimmy, like I said, all Jimmy needs to do is just cut down a little bit on that gunslinger he's got in him, and that's honestly that's about it. And trusting his knee a little bit more. There was times where you felt like he could have scrambled, picked up 3-4 yards. He took some sacks around that. So I think maybe because of the knee, he was kind of a little shaky on that. That got better as the season went on, but I definitely think that's all he needs to do. Cut down a little bit on the gunslinger. You know, scramble just a little bit more, or not be afraid to scramble, I should say. And there's no reason he can't be a 4,500, 32, 33 touchdown season guy, and around maybe only 10 interceptions. He can be that guy. It's there. Everything else is there. The accuracy, the clutchness, Super Bowl notwithstanding, but, his completion percentage on third down, just how he plays when they need big moments. One thing I love is that even after he threw an interception, he would come right back and it didn't seem to phase him. And that's one thing I look for in quarterbacks is not how you respond when things are going great. It's how you respond when, you throw a pick and you got to come right back out. One thing I always loved about Kaepernick, at least his first couple of seasons, was he seemed to shake those things off really well. The playoff game against Green Bay, he throws the pick six, and he comes right back and has one of the greatest playoff games ever. He shook it right off. So it's, a great, you have to be able to forget, that Men in Black memory wipe thing. So it was good to see Coach Shanahan. Like I said, you can tell he's ready to get on the field. He's ready to start coaching. He's ready to get the season going. You can just tell he is just chomping at the bit. And that's it for part one. They'll be talking to the offense and some of the defensive players. We'll cover that in part two. Should be coming out tomorrow. Like I said, I'll have links to all the videos in the description below. Good news, NFL has said that training camps will start July 28th. That is the plan. Hopefully, everything works out that way. Who knows with testing and all that. But so far, that is the plan. They have already said that they are canceling the Hall of Fame game between, I believe it was Steelers and Cowboys, I believe. They have already canceled that. If that's what needs to happen. I think at this point, as much as we all look forward to that first, the Hall of Fame game, even though it's terrible to watch, but it signals that football is back. We're that much closer. If that's what it takes, losing that game and maybe 1 or 2 other weeks of preseason to ensure that we have an actual regular season, I'm all for that. I'm more than happy to lose 2 or 3 weeks of preseason to ensure a regular season. I'm sure you guys are too. But like I said, links to the videos will be in the description below. Let me know what you guys think about the state of the franchise. Any tidbits you guys picked up. One other tidbit on the John Lynch, he talked about Joe Staley and how he was hurting actually pretty bad going into the Super Bowl, but basically just didn't say anything because he wasn't not going to play in the Super Bowl. Pretty impressive. If they don't retire that man's jersey, I'm gonna, me and I'm sure a lot of you will riot. It is, what that man has meant to the organization, what he's meant as a teammate, just a stand-up guy. And when you hear Lynch talk about, him being hurt but not, saying anything and really just gritting it out, just basically limping to that finish line. It's just so just, again, kind of sums up who Joe is as, like I said, a teammate and a person. So it's just great to hear. But like I said, any tidbits you guys pick up, leave a comment below. Part 2 will be coming out tomorrow once we talk to the offensive players and defensive players, and it'll be my thoughts on that. Like I said, leave a comment. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, click the bell icon, all that. I'm Aaron, the sweet throwback Jerry Rice shirt, and this is First and Faithful. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.